That's right, Kona's back, baby. Woo! So exciting news, breaking news, so breaking that while making this video, there's more to tell as we're doing this. In any case, let's take a look of an industry expert that's been in the industry for over 50 years, has some insights of what is going on with the Kona saga. Yes, they were great company, sold, train wrecked, and guess what? Bought back by the original owners. Yeah, let's review this in detail after this.
Welcome to Kona Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously I have a garage shop. Take scary out of used, one bike at a time. If you want to be kept up to date on latest projects and topics, please like and subscribe.
Kona, is it really Kona? Back to being really Kona? Let's find out what Kona is today. Breaking news. I haven't read the article yet, but my friend John Bradley has read the article, and a little about Kona. It's the little fun giant of a bike line. It has cool names. It has fun bikes. They started in Canada.
Yep.
And then they moved their facility down in Seattle area.
Vancouver.
Vancouver?
Yep.
Okay, so there's
anyway.
Yeah. I worked with I worked in the bike shop where they carried the line Kona in Michigan, and that's where I got really introduced to the actual line and how fun it was and that kind of thing. And they had Kona World, so they'd send somebody up there to do their little thing. And a couple years ago, the owners decided to sell to an investment company, and we've seen, just give you a little recap of what's happened. And they went to direct to consumers, had some troubles. They were going to go to what's that thing in California again? The big bike event in
Sea Otter.
Sea Otter, that's it. Yeah, they were going to go, and they pulled out.
They were there.
They were there.
They had the booth built.
That's right.
And then the employees said, "Take it down."
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what's going
on?
Yeah.
And they had a new financial advisor take position like really early before that, and they pulled the plug on everything. And then about a week or less than a week later, like, oh, we're for sale. And so the latest news, what's in the future for Kona?
So it sounds like they're trying to bring it back to its roots. In fact, that's as much the owners. One of them, his name is Heilbron, I think, but basically they were saying when they sold it a few years ago, they were under the belief that they would kind of go on Kona's mission. And Kona's always been this kind of quirky, funky, cool little brand. Like they were in the cyclocross business with production bikes way before a lot of people, like the Jake the Snake.
Oh yeah, I've worked on several of those. Those are pretty cool little bikes.
Cool things. I called on them once when I got in one of my positions. I'm trying to think, but it was really funny. I felt like I was in sort of a clubhouse instead of an office in Vancouver. But it was kind of fun. But they basically sold it to this, I guess, private equity group or whatever, and thinking that they were going to kind of follow the mission. They're quirky, fun, great place to work. Cool bikes, all that type of thing. Almost like a bike shop.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure what happened, whether they were misled or somebody above, the person that they trusted said, no, I'm the money guy. We're going omni-channel. We're going to blow things out or whatever.
Yeah.
So they are basically trying to bring it back to their roots as a cool, groovy bike brand. Whether the bicycle business can support another cool, groovy bike brand or the revival of Kona, I mean, hopefully they will, because they build real cool bikes.
I think there is a huge opportunity because I've been putting out product videos of what I work on and refurbishing bikes and doing the Trek and Specialized and doing stories on them. And there's a huge, a lot of it is kind of just people grumpy and they're throwing up their arms like, bikes are too expensive, blah, 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 and just totally freaking out. Like, I can buy a motorcycle for that or whatever the case may be. But there is some weight to that because the bike industry in like the Trek Specialized Giant realm of bike prices have gotten way expensive, and the entry level stuff, even call entry level, still for road bikes like $1,500. That's a big pill to swallow. So I still think if you had a very creative line like Kona, and like, okay, let's put pen to paper and let's see if we can revamp some of these brands like Jake the Snake and a couple models there, and bring those in price. They're going to have to go down on prices, and you can tell me. But in my little brain of a mechanic, I'm thinking, well, if they have more volume of sales of the mid-range, lower-end componentry, like we were talking about Sora the other day, which was decent componentry, it works well, but if you have a higher volume, that brings that price down because there's more volumes to be purchased. And then if they put more weight into that, therefore the end result would be, instead of a $1,500 bike, maybe you have a $1,200 or a $900 bike. Am I kind of correct on that perspective?
A little bit. It is funny. You kind of reminded me of something, you know, as I was working at various large brand names, which you've mentioned a few of before.
Yeah.
And we would go to certain large component manufacturers, very famous brand name, and say, hey, we're building and selling tons of bicycles, you know, hundreds of thousands of bikes a year.
Yeah.
We need the better deal. And we basically didn't really get much of a deal.
Huh.
So the volume numbers, typically you make it up in other places. There are other component parts.
Okay.
But typically your major brand name component parts, you know, SRAM, Shimano,
Okay.
Primarily, that's not where you're going to save a lot of money with a high volume of sales.
Okay.
It's going to be on, you know, maybe an interesting way to add value to your bicycle, make it attractive, and yet you reduce the price. Something like that might happen, but
it's usually like the wheels or the seats or the stems,
yeah,
where they kind of.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I'm looking at this beautiful Columbus tubing Trek over here from the 70s or 80s, and Columbus tubing, beautiful investment cast lugs, and it's got a headset in it called Hatta, Hatta,
Okay.
which is a Japanese headset, which wasn't exactly a Tongay or a Shimano or something, you know, a nicer headset. So, you know, sometimes people will try and put something in that the buyer doesn't necessarily really, you know, it's not one of those headline items.
Yeah, it's a recognizable name. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a number of ways. You're always trying to, you know, improve your profitability, because that means you can keep your business running.
Yeah.
So this isn't nefarious. It just is the way business is done. Yeah. You know, and you know, you know, some people will say, no, we're doing, you know, all high quality product, but you've got to pay for that.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with the rising prices now, you know, the inflation in the industry, I mean, supply chain is still, you know, was totally messed up through COVID. Mm-hmm. It's still messed up. Yeah. You know, overloaded inventory, stuff like it's really challenging right now in the bicycle business, which has always been a challenging business. And you think almost every brand that we talk about here in the United States, nobody sources their complete bikes here. No. There's no complete bike factories here. There's a few nibbles, I think, out in the Carolinas. Somebody's trying to do something. Detroit Bicycle is trying to do something, but it's not like anywhere near, you know, where you see these, you know, factories in Asia where they're building, you know.
Well, there lies our cost to it. I mean, did in the article, did they have kind of did they unveil a plan of attack? Or
no. I think their main thing is they want to kind of bring it back to the way they believe their business should have been run. Okay. You know, with the way they felt they were running it, and the way they thought that the
investment group was going to run
venture capitalist group, you know, that just drove it right into the ditch. They thought they were going to do it, so they're trying to bring it back to those core values. So they're still going to have to compete. You know, they're still going to have to go to, you know, make a competitive product both for the retailer and for the consumer. Yeah. Which is challenging. It's not easy.
So do you think they got in it? Well, I mean, it's kind of a hot mess because they had the 2-for-1 bikes sale, and people are kind of stuck in that headset, as well as direct to consumer for the dealers. That was kind of a big fart in church. According to a lot of the dealers were smaller because they couldn't, not like Specialized. They're just like, you stiff-armed everybody like, oh, we're doing this. And you're just going to suck it up because our brand is so big. But Kona, smaller brand did the same thing. You think what kind of challenges do you think they're going to have with those two big obstacles? Taking the name back and trying to make a Kona again.
In terms of the brand's value, image, it's hard to say how much that was damaged by a sale of 2-for-1, because there was a lot of that going on.
True. I think the Marin is the first one I saw that did it.
They're not the only ones, know, and there's a reason for that. Can they revive the brand? It'll be interesting. I mean, because we talked about some of the brands that when I was working at Trek, that ended up at Trek. A number of them, like Fisher mountain bikes, went up, down, making money, not making money, all that type of thing, which is part of the reason they ended up being a Trek brand. Okay. So, can they revive it? We can see. I mean, Schwinn went up and down. Went from being the biggest badass brand in, pardon my French,
in history
in the United States, to a shell, but still a recognizable brand. It'll be interesting, because I think there's probably a lot of people in the looking at bikes that may have never heard of this. I read Bicycle Retailer every day or something. Yeah. That they're blowing it out. They may not be aware. So it's possible. I don't know enough about it to know what what I say. It's better than 50%. I don't know. Anything's possible. Sure. I mean, I do wish them good luck. I mean, in spirit, I'm definitely with them. Yeah. I think you are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were it was out of working in shops over all these years, and you have like the Trek and the Specialized, and they have a level of stiffness to them. This is a good way of putting it. I mean, they're good brands, and had good marketing, but they really were just business, and a lot of it was like that. But when you came along a line like Kona, which was like you were saying, it's like going to like a frat house and paying. I don't think they were doing beer pong in the back, but they probably had a ping pong table or a foosball,
might have been
maybe a keg, a kegerator somewhere laying around. But it's one of those things that it's it's just cycling. If you're an avid cyclist, the bike brand that you ride a lot of times represents you, in a sense. Like it has like, I have a fun Kona for going down to the restaurants or riding around. It's like, is it the highest performing machine out there? No, but that lies to the biggest, the bigger questions, like, do we all need these high-end, fast, super rocket machines? No. We want fun bikes. Like, it might be a little bit extra weight, but it's definitely a conversation. I mean, come on, Jake the Snake. I mean, well, you go on days for that one right there, but it's fun stuff.
I mean, bottom line is you've got to build. You've got to build Dick Burke's phrase, a quality product at a competitive value on time. That was a mantra at Trek.
Oh wow, okay, that's a good little gold nugget there.
Yeah, and he was interesting because he was not a bike guy.
Not a bike guy.
He was the money guy. And Bevel Hogg sold him on the concept of bicycle stores. They were going to open a chain of high-end bicycle stores originally, and then they said, no, the real money is in building bicycles in the middle of Wisconsin. But they've got to come up with a competitive product. They've got to have a reason for that brand. Yeah, and like we were talking earlier, in spirit, I love the idea that they're pulling it back and hopefully, bringing it back. Bike shops love brands like Kona because it provides some differentiation. It's not a brand you see everywhere. Yeah, a Trek, a Specialized, a Schwinn, for that matter. Yeah. And that's always been kind of the fun of the bike business. When I got into it in the '70s, we were talking earlier, the first go around about all these brands that are just long gone. But it was really cool. It was really fun, and you would sell the romance, and this is a French biker, that's an Italian biker, whatever. It's really fun and kind of cool to have a unique brand like that. Yeah. But you also have to have a good product as well. Yeah, you gotta put the value in it too. I mean, you just can't turn around and
pedal junk like happened to Schwinn at some point. You know, I forget what, it wasn't the investment company that you worked for, but it was, I think, the one that purchased it immediately after Schwinn went under, and they had bikes being made in Hungary. And it was like, whoa.
Well, no, and
so
actually,
you can't go that direction.
You know, part of that might have been, I don't know that they were trying to do the lowest common denominator. I think they saw an opportunity there that, I think it was Chespel, CSE, something. It was kind of an interesting name in Hungary, but, you know, you can be surprised. Like I was at Trek when, you know, we started opening up some, in fact, when we went while I was at Trek, we made the decision to stop our business with Merida and go to Giant, which was an earthquake in Taiwanese bicycle business. Merida never thought we would leave them.
Oh wow! When was it? This
is like early '90s.
Okay.
Early to mid '90s or whatever, that we went from Merida to Giant.
Okay.
But even there, you know, I remember thinking, well, this is going to be a very horizontal, like we're going to get the same kind of quality. And what you forget about is we had built these relationships with Merida. Like I would go there and we'd talk, you know, specifications, but I was also going down onto the factory floor, you know, and looking are the, you know, bearings properly adjusted, are the wheels built well, that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so you build these relationships and they understand what you're looking for. And we went over to Giant, and all of a sudden you've got to rebuild all those relationships.
Yeah.
We weren't getting bad bicycles from there, but it was more difficult moving factories over there. So Schwinn's move to Hungary, I think, was well intentioned, but you know, it's like moving your bike brand's production over and that institutional knowledge that we'd built up at Merida, you know, when we went to Giant, wasn't, you know, all of a sudden it was kind of not there. Yeah. And you know, also they're listening to their, you know, the biggest customer typically can sort of mold the way you know, your producer, you know, does business with you, and that in turn influences how they build the other customer stuff. Anyways, we're kind of getting lost here.
Yeah. But, would you know who builds the Kona brand?
I don't know.
So I don't think it shifted.
No, but
during
you
the
know,
purchase.
it may have, but I mean, I think their problems were probably more to do financially and the status of the market, the supply chain issues. I think that's probably what you know, just got to be so dang challenging. I mean, it is not an easy business. You know, liability costs have gone up.
Yeah.
Labor costs have gone up. Material costs have gone up. I mean, there's no getting away from some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Here goes an Amazon truck.
Oh yeah, there's an Amazon truck.
But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I haven't talked to these guys. I don't know them, you know, in particular. I'm aware of them, you know, but you know, I wish them well. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad that it was big question mark where they're going to be up for sale again from the investment capitalist group that drove them into the ground. Unfortunate, which is a repeated story over the decades. But
Schwinn.
Yeah, and a few others.
Yes.
But in any case, I'm actually really happy that the original owners purchased them back, cool. And there's a better chance than it would have been if somebody else.
If it's just another
investment. I mean, I think the only other big fish I think that may have money right now, it would be Pon. But who knows? Yeah. I mean, but then again, I'm sure everybody's having a little bit of troubles. But. Yep. Well, you heard it from us. That's our 2 bits. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garage, and until next time, have a wonderful day.
Adios.
Well, that's some great insights from John Bradley and all his expertise of being in industry from Trek and Schwinn and so forth. And yeah, he didn't work for Kona, but he knew of them and the woes that are kind of mirror a lot of other companies out there. Just breaking though. Another article or letter from the original owners they're purchasing, kind of a press release. They decided to purchase Kona back from the investment company. Yay! This is not being peddled off to some other company like Pon or somebody else to do whatever to it. Bring back Kona's mojo. This is awesome. Well, they're going to can the direct-to-consumer, so sorry, you're not going to get a Kona directly shipped to your house which is probably was a bad fatal attempt from the actual investment company trying to copy Canyon and Specialized and other brands out there. Not a great fit for this particular branding. And also the buy one, get one free BOGO thing, that was a desperate attempt. They're probably never going to do that. They can that. It's not going to happen probably ever again because that just kind of liquidates the actual branding. What are they going to do? Well, currently so far what I just read is they're going to put, they still have a lot of inventory. They have some new bikes coming in the pipeline. They're just picking up the reins where they left off, really. They're actually going to kind of push through the inventory that are over inventory, like all the manufacturers are stuck with right now, and kind of take an 18-month approach to this. They are still going to release the newer models that they had in the pipeline, but you'll probably see the models maybe scale down a little bit. It's going to be a smaller company than it was before, so that's one of the main takeaways. But they are bringing back several of their employees from several different departments that were either laid off or did not make the acquisition. So that's some great news, and one of their professional racers is down in Australia or something like that too. But in any case, they're going to be coming back. They actually have a game plan, a great approach. They're going to try to bring the branding back to its original state. Great for the retailers that did carry them or want to carry them as a bike shop, because that actually gives them basically a vote of confidence that they're working with a brand that supports them as much as they support the bikes themselves. So hey, it's a win-win. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of correction, and kind of like save face and do good. But what I read is, sounds like they're going to bring back the brand to its original glory, hopefully. I mean, there's going to be some challenges that Bradley actually brought out that I hope they have, but I think they have the best foot forward. It's not like they haven't done this before. It's one of those situations where it is different times. We are going to have to adjust for it. And I have a vote of confidence that they will, and bring back or keeping the brand from completely being dissolved to nothing or slapped with a different whatever. Any case, like we've seen with Schwinn with other brands too. But needless to say, they're back, baby, and they're hitting the ground running, which is great to see immediately. This came pretty hot and fast, and probably more news to come after this, but I wanted to at least let you know as the wheel turns, so the days arise. Woohoo! It is definitely at full speed. But in any case, thanks for watching. Hope you got some valuable insights out of this. Thank you for hanging out with me in the garage. And if it's nice in your neck of the woods, please go for a ride. Every hour in the saddle is another day extra in life, so go for it. In any case, I hope you have a wonderful day.